start with JavaScript,
Okay.
then we'll move to HTML, CSS, and if we have time,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll see something
Yeah, sure.
mad off topic. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Can you tell me what is the hoisting in the JavaScript?
Yeah, like in JavaScript, variable declarations are moved to the top when we in the hoisting, not the initialization. But when we hoist let and constant, they are hoisted in a temporal dead zone. So if we try to hoist them, we get a reference error.
Okay. What are the benefits of hoisting?
We can access them before declaring it.
Okay. Mm, is there any drawback of hoisting?
Yeah, this doesn't work in a strict mode.
Okay. But no, no. So that is the kind of
Mm-hmm.
condition that we can apply. If we don't want hoisting,
Mm-hmm.
we can use the strict mode. But what I'm asking, does it create some issues? Okay. And what is shallow copy and deep copy?
Like when we have like we can do shallow copy using spread and object.assign. Basically, if we have top level objects, like those will be like if I change it, if I'm name dot change, if I change student dot name, the initial object will not be changed. The when shallow in the shallow copy, nested level object will be copied by reference. If I change it, the parent also will be copied by reference, so it will also change. But in the deep copy, we can use json dot stringify and pass. We can do a deep clone.
Mhm.
If we just change this parent will not be changing.
Can you tell me some of the ES6 features that you had used?
uh, like I have used arrow functions, let
Mm-hmm.
and const I have used, and the object tree structuring, optional chaining,
Mm-hmm.
like spread operators and rest parameters I have used.
What else?
Uh, like TypeScript utilities I have used, like uh, these generics I have used, unions,
Okay. What
default.
are arrow functions?
Yeah,
What
arrow
are arrow functions?
like arrow function doesn't have its own this, like they takes this of a function where they are called in, and one line of return. We don't have to specify the return shorter syntax. We use it in callback functions.
Okay. What are promises?
Basically, when we do a API calls, when we fetch it, like mm, these are asynchronous calls. Initially, we used to, once we have the data, we used to write a callback functions. So if any APIs are dependent on one another, we might run into a callback hell. But overcame that by a promises. Basically, promises, we have the callback. These callbacks will be called only once we have the data from the promise, and we can return the promise, and we can do a promise chaining. Like one like promises have like we have catch block where we can do a error handling once if any API fails. Like
Mm-hmm.
promises are eager, like once called we'll get the data.
Okay. And what is async and await then?
Basically, async await is like async is returning promise, and await we are resolving that returned promise.
Uh-huh. What is JS engine?
JS engine.
Mm.
Like JavaScript engine is like in browser we have uh, like JavaScript runtime environment, which
Oh, which engine Chrome uses?
V8, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, you are saying something.
Yeah, like it gives a runtime environment for JavaScript piece of code to execute. Basically, it creates a memory allocation and code execution whenever we type some functions.
Okay, how we do it?
Like JavaScript is a single-threaded synchronous language. So whenever we write any functions or any synchronous functions or a synchronous function, JavaScript will create a global execution context, and it will try to run those functions. Suppose if it is encountering any asynchronous functions like set timeout, then this set timeout, basically it we have callback functions. Once the timer is done, then only we have to run the callback function. So we have a event loop, and this callback functions are put it in the callback queues. So event loop will monitor the call stack and callback queues. Once the timer is done and there's nothing to execute in the call stack, event loop will put this callback function from the callback queue to a call stack and execute it. Suppose if we have a API calls, if we have used some fetch or some API for API calls, this callback functions are put it in a micro task queues, and same way event loop will monitor and it will put this functions callback functions from micro task queue to call stack and execute it. This micro task queue has a higher precedence comparing to the callback queues.
Okay. Let's talk. Okay, before we move, let's work on some problem, or let's. Okay, problem. Let's discuss at the end. Okay, because then we'll spend a lot of time there. Okay, so we'll try to go theory. Then now, then at the end we'll move to some problem. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, so tell me, folder structure of Angular.
Basically, we are working with a component driven architecture in after Angular 2 plus versions. We
Mm-hmm.
In the component we have a component decorators, where we have selectors and templates and styles for a particular component. We group those components into a module, uh, depending on the features, whichever we want. I have a login module, I can have a shared module, like I can create a feature modules, and this will
Mm-hmm.
help me to if I have an Angular application, when in a load of application, I can load only the necessary modules, and other modules I can load them on demand using lazy loading, using path and load children in the routes. Basically this will help to improve our Angular application performance. Also it will reduce the initial bundle size, and we have
Mm-hmm.
Angular is a single page application. Basically we have routes, and in the routing.for module, the for route level, we have to define a constant with the path and routes. Basically which path, which route we have to navigate, we have to have the router outlet. This is a placeholder. Whenever we navigate to a route, those will be displayed replaced with the router outlet. And we have services, basically shared logic, code logic, we can put it in the services. Whenever we make a API call or any other logic, common logic, we can put it in the services. We can define
Mm-hmm.
this in a providers array. These are at injectable services with the decorators. So we can define the root level of a providers, and we can make a singleton, like we can achieve the single instance of a services to other components in our application.
Mm-hmm.
Also we have directives and pipe. Basically directives are like which adds a behavior to the DOM. We have structural directives which adds elements and remove elements from the DOM. We have attribute directives which adds a behavior to the DOM. Also we have component directives. Also we can create a custom directives. And we have pipes which will display which will transform the data, which will not affect the change of a data. We can also create our custom pipes with implementing a pipe transform interface. There are also
Okay.
pure
So
and
what type of custom how many types of custom pipe we can create? Like, is there any limitations?
Yeah, we can create a pure and impure custom pipes.
And what is difference?
Basically pure pipes are like whenever the input property value changes, then only this pipe will be changing, will transform the data. But impure pipe will change on every change detection. So basically it is a dirty check, it is a enhance like hampering our Angular application performance. Like if we have this translate pipe, this is a impure pipe.
Okay, fine. Can you tell me the life cycle of Angular?
Yeah, like we have ngOninit. Basically it will be called only once in the initialization of a component. Before after the constructor, ngOninit will be called. And then we have ngDoCheck. ngDoCheck will be called on every change detection. Whenever there is a change detection, this lifecycle hook will be called. Then we have ngOnChanges. This lifecycle hook will be called whenever there is a input property changes in the component. And then we have ng after view init. Like this is called only after the view is initialized. And we have ng after content in it. Once content is projected, this lifecycle loop will be called. Also we have ng on to destroy, ng do destroy. Like basically whenever we are moving away from a component, if we have some subscriptions made in the component, we can, to avoid the memory leak, we can unsubscribe those subscriptions in the ng on destroy lifecycle loop. We have created a destroy subject with the take until operators, which will we can unsubscribe the multiple subscription in Angular component.
Okay. What are decorators?
Decorators are like we have property decorators and we have class decorators. Property decorators, like we have at the rate input and at the rate output, at the rate view child. These are decorators, like from input, at the rate input property decorators we can send the data from parent to child component. At the rate output decorator we can evit a event from child to parent. View child also we can have a access of a child from the parent. Then we have at host listener, host binding, we can bind the host properties. With the host listener we can listen to the host emitted event, like on click, on mouse hover. Also at we have view children, like we can get a query list of a children.
Okay. Why we use TypeScript? What are the benefits?
Basically we get a class where we can extend a child class. Also we can extend we can create abstract class in TypeScript, and we can abstract class can have a method definition, and those implementation we can write it in the other class where we are inheriting those abstract class. Basically we can extend the class methods. Also we can have an interface. Basically we can create a model data types, and we can have with the interface as a skeleton, and we can use it. And we have TypeScript utilities like pick, omit, partial requires. Like we can create, pick a few properties from the existing interface. We can make the uh, all the properties as optional or required. Like there are many other benefits.
Okay.
Like it's
Uh,
strictly typed actually.
okay. Um, so, what is the best place to call API in Angular? Can you explain about that?
Yeah, we can create services. Like we
Okay.
can create a shared service, and with we in the constructor we can initialize http client. Then we can create methods. If I want to get a data, then we can have a url, and I can do http.get, and I can call the api url, and I can return this returns as observable. And then we can in the components, and we have to define this providers in a root level of module. Then we can in the component we can initialize this services in the constructor. Then we can call this service methods, and then we can subscribe to the data in the component.
Okay. do you have any exposure to backend technology?
No, like I have learned Node.js. Like I have not worked on any projects actually.
Okay. How do you work on test cases?
Yeah, I have worked with just for unit test cases.
Okay. Let's move to HTML. What are semantic tags?
Basically, semantic tags are introduced in HTML5. We have header, nav, aside, footer, a section. Basically, this tells the browser this is the header, this is the nav. Basically, this improves the search engine optimization of a application. Also, this helps for the accessibility of a page, web page.
Okay. What else? Like what other feature we'll get?
Structuring of a page beautification makes it will be easier for a application.
Mm. Okay. Can you tell me some of the semantic tags that you had used?
Header, nav, aside, section, footer.
Okay, fine. Do you know what is you know mime type?
Mind.
Mime, MIME. It is mime type in HTML or when we call the API. Do you know about that?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you know what is doc type?
Yeah, we for HTML page as a doc type which tells the what is the HTML version it is. Basically, before HTML5 we used to specify the doc type. Now we don't have to specify in all the HTML versions. We just have to do doc type. It tells it's a HTML5.
Okay. So did you work on responsive design,
Yeah, I have
web design?
worked with responsive design. Initially, we used to use media queries. Basically, at media screen width, we used to write, and depending on that, we used to make a responsive web application. After that, I have started using Bootstrap, which divides a row into 12 columns and which gives us Bootstrap CSS classes. MD, LG, Excel, all those classes makes application responsive. Also, now
Mm.
we are using CSS display flex. Also we can where we can give a flex direction and make application responsive.
Okay. What is Flex? What it do?
Like display this is a CSS display property. Basically, if I give a display flex direction, I can I can move the elements in a direction column or a row. Also, I can do a justify align items, like I can make them center, like CSS position properties we can apply.
And what is box model?
Box model is like we have elements first, then they are contained by a padding. Then when we have a border on the element, after that we have a margin on the element. So basically, when we consider height, it also adds up to the padding and border and margin to the element.
Okay. So what is specificity in the CSS?
Basically, how this CSS property is being added to the element. Suppose if I have a id selector that has a more CSS specificity than the CSS class. If I'm giving important, that has more specificity. Like basically in CSS we have to write in the inheritance order, so that the CSS specificity will be more, that CSS will be applied to the element.
Hmm. Okay. So what does position fix mean? in CSS?
Position fixed means that element will be fixed in the web page, and whatever we do.
Okay. So if I did not provide top and bottom or left to the element, I just provide position fix. What will happen?
uh, then I think it will consider this as a uh, like all the properties top all those things as a zero, and it will be at the start of the page. I'm not sure. We have to specify all these properties to make those elements to move and place it in the web page.
I see. Okay. So what is difference between EM and REM?
Em is like a constant size, like if I'm specifying 13 em, it will be a constant size. Rem is like a relative to the parent root size we have defined.
Okay. Did you work on Git?
Yeah, yeah, I have worked on Git and Bitbucket.
Okay. So what is pull and fetch difference?
Pull is like I can get the, like if I have a branch and I can pull, I can pull from the server latest commits I can pull. Fetch will fetch all the branches. Like pull will fetch will like download from the repository and update my local repository. Fetch.
Hmm. Okay. Suppose you want to improve the performance of your application.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me some of the key parameters?
Yeah, first is like we can try implementing lazy loading and code splitting, and second is like we can use chain detection strategies. By default chain detections are caused by zone.ts. Basically whenever there is a change in DOM tree, Angular try to update the view by default, which is making a dirty check. We can prevent this by using on push change detection strategy, and only for specific actions like input changes, event emission, or async, all those changes this change detection will be caused when we use on push change detection strategy. And also we can if I'm calling a API and if I want to update the view, I can explicitly call the change detection with a mark for a check. And also we Angular provides a run outside the Angular zone. If I want to call a API and we don't want to update the view, then I can call those in run outside Angular zone. Also I can try using pure pipes, as impure pipes are hampering Angular application performance. Also when observables, we have to handle it properly whenever we are making a subscription. Whenever we are navigating away, we have to unsubscribe the subscription. And clean, we have to use solid principles, like every JavaScript class should have a single responsibility, and it should be open for extension, not closed. It should be closed for modification, and it should not be forced to implement an interface which it doesn't use. And also like we try using optional parameters wherever it is needed. Also we have to use strict equals whenever there is a chance to use let and const, we can use those. And also Angular in the build tree shaking, it removes unwanted unused code from the build time.
Okay. So do you work on some, architectural pattern, MVC, MMVC?
Yeah, we work on like a MVC pattern, model view control.
Can you explain?
um, basically Angular is a MVC pattern, right? Like we have
Hmm.
a model and view. Basically we have a template where we are doing if we want to update the TypeScript, we are with the event binding, we are binding the template with the template data to the uh, controllers. Also with a one property binding, one way property binding, we can emit we can send a data from controller to template. Like we have component service and in the Angular. Also we have data binding methods.
Okay. Do you know design patterns?
Like I know, like this dependency injection. Basically, we can whenever we are creating a service, we can inject instance of a service into components, and also we can like use with the providers. We can do a provide and use class. We can decouple higher level, lower level module by creating abstract layer. Like basically, this class I can replace with another instance of a class. I can do a use existing and I can use the existing class. A singleton, basically I can provide a single instance of a service to all the components whichever I'm using.
Okay. Hmm. Fine. Did you work on accessibility?
Like yeah, initially I have worked on accessibility. Like as a web page should be accessible to all. Like basically we can use area properties, area label, area role uh, to add this accessibility. And also we can use alt tags, also tab indexes. We should be proper. Like we had like some Chrome extensions where we used to run those, and if it fails we used to fix those accessibility issues. Also some testers used to have a adobe some tool to run the application with a digital for accessibility test.
Okay. So, what are the best practices in security? Can you just explain?
Yeah, like basically we have cross-site scripting attacks. Basically, whenever we are trying to inject HTML into the DOMs, inner HTMLs, if I am using it, and those can be a weak points, and hackers can malicious activities can be done. So basically, we can create in our application. We had the same scenario. We have created a safe HTML pipe. We have used DOM sanitizers. Basically, by using a DOM sanitizer trust by content policy HTML. Basically, before injecting HTML skeleton into the DOM, we can sanitize the DOM. Also, we have you can use a content security policy headers for securities. Also, we can use route guards. Like if I have a mm, so some routes which need to be accessed by only specific roles, admin roles, I can protect those routes using route guards with can activate route guards. Also, whenever I'm storing any tokens in the session or local storage, I can encode those and I can store the keys in the server.